Hello everyone, I'm Brian and today I'm reacting to Swami Sarvapriyananda at IITK Who Am I Part 2. So hopefully I can condense it down to just 2 videos, hopefully an hour, less than an hour apiece. I kind of skipped the intro part just so we can get started. So let's go ahead and get started because I don't want this video to be too long. Oopsie.
Good evening and namaskar. I'm back yet again for the concluding lecture on a portion of the Mandukya Upanishad. The subject is, who am I? I was warned by some of the students that the audience might be very negligible because there is apparently a cricket match, which is very attractive.
Oh.
But, surprise, we have a fairly large number here, and you are to be congratulated for turning up for something like Mandukya Upanishad and Mandukya Karika, choosing it over the cricket match and other methods of relaxation on this Sunday evening. I'll just quickly recapitulate what we have done, the position where we are in at present before we go ahead. These are, what is in your hand, are the Karikas, the verses written by Gaudapada Acharya explaining the 7th mantra. Yesterday we studied the 7th mantra, and these are the Karikas explaining the 7th mantra, which we will study today with an aim of a deeper understanding of the 7th mantra, a deeper appreciation of the answer to the question, who am I? Remember, okay, one point here, just like yesterday, there are a number of typos here. Actually not typos, certain marks have not come on the paper, especially the bindi and the visarga, it has not come. I will tell you when we come to the Karika how to correct it. Some spelling mistakes are there. Okay. Where were we? The question we are facing is, who am I? And the smallest of the Upanishads, and maybe the most powerful of the Upanishads, the Mandukya Upanishad, they say that Mandukyam ekameva alam mumukshunam vimuktaye, for the liberation of those who want liberation, moksha, for them Mandukya itself is sufficient. And the 7th mantra which we studied yesterday is the core, is the heart of the Mandukya Upanishad. What did it tell us? It said, look at our lives. Throughout our day we pass through 3 states. Now we are awake, later at night we will dream and maybe have deep sleep also. So one of our states is I am the waker, and the next one is the dreamer.
I want to talk about these states in a separate video. I hope I can piece it together.
Let's call in the
because you guys have made some really good comments, and
these
I kind
are
of want
not 3 separate persons. It is the one and the same person. We, you, or I. We all go through these 3 identities.
I want to piece it together.
And we'll call this the knower.
Before I present the video, with you guys'
what
comments
does this person
as well.
know? The known.
And I do want to
or knowable.
Pull out some of the content of his videos
or the
to
known or the knowable.
Reinforce my thoughts on it too. I hope I can get it out there.
Waking world.
Or get time to make it. Because this is honestly fascinating.
Waking world means not that the world is awake, it means the world we experience when we are awake. Then there is the dream world. The dreamer experiences the dream world, and the sleeper experiences deep sleep. We can call it the sleep blankness.
Just in case.
So this is the known. This is the knower and the known. What we experience in the waking, in dream, and in deep sleep.
I wonder if you guys would be okay. I know some of you said it's not a sleep world because I guess the world would indicate a place to explore. What about a void world? Void, I believe the definition of that, it means nothingness, a void world, just to keep the waking world, dream world, and void world. But you know, sleep blankness. Although I keep thinking it's like, why is that last world even there? Because there's nothing there. But you have to put it there because there is a point where you're sleeping that you experience nothing. Because every time I try to talk about these things, I have to keep saying there's a sleeper world, but we ignore that because there's nothing there to experience. The only thing that you experience is the waker world and the dream world.
And what is the stage called?
Stage.
This is the waking stage.
Oh, This you didn't explain in the last
Dream
one.
state, stage or state. Better to call it the state. Waking state, dream state, and the sleep, deep sleep.
Maybe it's because I like to keep things consistent, like nice and parallel. I don't know. I'm dumb like that.
And what we learnt was, by an analysis of these experiences, all of us have these experiences, nothing very spiritual about it. It's our day-to-day experience. The Upanishad says, take a look at these experiences. The waker and the dreamer are different. The dreamer and the sleeper are different. They're different from each other because what happens to the waker is not remembered in dream. What happens to the dreamer is falsified when you wake up, and to the sleeper is somebody else. I mean, they are exclusive. Just as a bangle is not a necklace is not a ring, they are separate from each other as bangle, necklace, and ring.
That's the thing that I was getting at. It's the fact that the waker, dreamer, and sleeper all are separate. There's nothing that links them together in this world. So whatever the waker world remembers, it stays within itself as self-containing. The dreamer itself, as well as containing the sleeper itself, is also self-containing, meaning nothing, I don't know how else to example it, but nothing leaks from this world to the other world. So nothing that the waker world experience gets leaks through to the dreamer world. So I was making that example in the last video, I believe. It's been a little bit, but I don't quite remember everything I said. But again, that's the reason why I want to make another video where I kind of talk about this a little bit more, along with what you guys comment and along with what he is saying, just to make sure I got it right. I don't know if I watch it again and it's like, oh, okay, it's my mistake, I might not make the video, or I might still, just to point out my own mistake.
Apart from this, there is a reality. How do you know there is a reality apart from it? Because though they are exclusive, they are separate, we all say, I am the waker, I who was awake, I who was dreaming, I was in deep sleep, and I am awake again. So I claim all these states for myself. Who is that I? Who is that I common to all these three? Yet they being different from each other, there is something common running through all of them, and that is pure consciousness, and that is what we realized as the Turiyam, the fourth.
Turiyam.
The Turiyam, or Turiya, the fourth one. There is something apart from the waker, the dreamer, and the sleeper, which is our true nature, the pure consciousness, and that does not exist apart from them, that actually exists in and through them. Just as gold is not found apart from the ornaments, but it is the very nature of the ornaments. In the same way, it is the pure consciousness which appears as the waker. It is the pure consciousness which appears as the dreamer. It is the pure consciousness which appears as the sleeper. Just like a gentleman who opens his shop and conducts business during daytime, so is the businessman. And the same man shuts down the shop and goes to his room and watches TV, relaxes in the evening, and then goes to his bedroom and goes to sleep. Now the man is the same, but in one case, in the shop, he's dealing with the external world, buying and selling. And you can call him the shopkeeper, the one who has transactions with the world. In the second state, the same person, he has no contact with anybody else, but he watches a movie on the TV. And after that, he goes to the bedroom and goes to sleep.
Okay, so this part, the leak or the contamination or whatever you want to call it, is the Turiya itself, the Turiyam. Basically, it's the thing that it's alive during each state. So the Turiyam, at least if I remember what he said correctly from the last one, I'm hoping he'll say it on this one, is the Turiyam is the one that's true in all states, but also influences each state. But I think he says that the Turiyam is just an observer that does not influence the state. I think he said in the last video, but I'm hoping he'll say it here again, and which is what I was trying to point out the last time. Again, I might have misheard, I might have had a mistake there for sure. That's why I want to watch the video again and really deeply analyze it, as opposed to a reaction. I don't really have time to just go back and watch over and over as many times as I need to understand it, to fully understand it. Reaction is just what I can get at the time.
3 rooms, 3 types of activities, 3 names. We can call him the shopkeeper, the relaxer, and the sleeper. and three rooms are there, 3 types of activities are there, and 3 names are there. But the person is one and the same. It is the same person. In the same way, it is the same consciousness dealing with the external world like a shopkeeper, buying and selling with the external world, with a body and mind, is called the waker. And when he goes to sleep, imagines a mental world, a world created from his own samskaras in the mind, and we call that same Turiya the dreamer. And then nothing, blankness in deep sleep. We call the same Turiya the sleeper. And again he comes back again in this form. Now what Gaudapada Acharya will do, he will explore this concept further and make it clear to us. And certain terms are introduced. These terms you must learn to understand these karikas. The terms are to be understood. Waker, he gives the name Vishwa. Waker is given the name Vishwa. Who is Vishwa? Who is this strange person? Nobody, you. Right now, all of us, what we are right now, Gaudapada Acharya calls Vishwa. Then the dreamer, Gaudapada Acharya gives the name Taijasa. These are the technical names are given. Vishwa, Taijasa. These are from the Upanishad itself. We have not gone through the mantras. The earlier mantras were there. In that the names have been given by the Upanishad. The one who is dreaming is called Taijasa. And there is a reason why such names are given. We will not go into that. When you are dreaming, you yourself, your name becomes Taijasa. When you are in deep sleep, the name given is Pragya. Pragya. Who are these strange people? You. You are Vishwa now. When you dream, you, the same person, you are called Taijasa. When you are in deep sleep, knowing nothing, blankness, you are called Pragya. So, who am I? In waking state, I am Vishwa. In dream, I am Taijasa. In deep sleep, I the same person. I am Pragya. And these are the things which we experience throughout the day. What the Upanishad tells you is, you are none of them. You are actually in reality, in yourself. You are Turiya. Turiya literally means the 4th, number 4. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but the 4th. It is the Turiya alone who appears as Vishwa. It is the Turiya alone who appears as Taijasa. It is the Turiya alone who appears as Pragya. Okay. These are the certain terms we must learn. And then the state itself is called Avastha. Avastha, state. And the waking state is called Jagrat. In Hindi also we call it Jagrat. The dream state is called Swapnaha. And deep sleep is called Shushupti. Sushupti. These are the names given. These are standard names in Vedanta, in Sanskrit also. Waking is called Jagrat, dream is called Swapna, and deep sleep is called Sushupti. And what do you see there? The known object, what you see in the Jagrat is called Jagrat Prapancha, this world. In dream, you see Swapna Prapancha, created by the mind. And in deep sleep, you don't call it Sushupti Prapancha, there is no Prapancha there, but the blankness, it's a potential state. These are the terms we need to know. Now we can go ahead. What he will tell us in these verses, let me sum up very quickly. Then it will make more sense. A fundamental idea of Advaita Vedanta. See, ignorance causes error.
Yeah.
There is a rope in the darkness, a standard example in Advaita Vedanta, stock example, a rope in semi-darkness. I don't know it is there, I see something, and the next moment it may not be a rope, it might be a computer cable, and the next moment I think it's a snake. The Sanskrit term is Rajju, Rajju means rope, and the term for snake is Sarpa. So Rajju is the reality which I do not know. Not knowing that reality, I suddenly mistake it for a snake, and I say there is a Sarpa, Sarpa Brahma. Brahma means delusion, mistake. What caused me to see the snake? There is no snake. But for a moment I actually saw a snake, a mistake, it's a mistake. What caused it? It is an ignorance of the rope. The reality, I am ignorant of the reality. I don't know what it is. Therefore, I mistake it to be a snake.
Two things here. So, my train of thought on this is there's two things. One is, what is the most probable? When you're looking at something you don't know what it is, what is the most probable? If you live in a rope factory, you're going to assume it's a rope. Second thing, it's maybe our survival instinct that we assume the worst in order to do self-preservation. Because if you don't assume the worst and it is the worst, you're probably not going to make it. But if you assume the worst and it's not the worst, then you're still fine regardless. So I guess that's kind of, the mental thinking of the person maybe is the fact that, you think of what's the most common thing that it could potentially be. You don't necessarily assume the worst. You assume whatever it is. If you are in a factory of again, like ropes or cables or whatever, and you see something down there, you don't know what it is, but it looks like something long, you assume a cable if you're in a cable factory, or a rope in a rope factory. You would not assume it's a snake. But then you could potentially have your instinctual brain thinking the worst, which could be a snake. Which is basically your survival instinct saying, hey, don't get close to it until you know for sure, because if it is the worst case, you could end up, not making it. That's just my thinking there.
Maybe because of my samskaras, somebody might mistake it to be a garland thrown away. Somebody might mistake it to be a crack on the earth. In Sanskrit, they say sarpa, bhuchidra, mala. These are vikalpa. These are vikalpa. The various types of mistakes we might make. But the truth is that it is a snake, and it's a rope. And my ignorance of the rope caused me to see it as a snake. So ignorance of the reality causes me to make a mistake about the reality.
And that's also, sorry, and that's the reason why we kind of fear the unknown, because if we don't know what it is, we fear it. And the reason why we fear it is because we don't know if it can actually harm us. And that's the reason why, again, we fear the unknown. It's an instinctual survival, it's survival instinct, I think. I'm just throwing it out there, and that's my belief on it, the reason why we do that, the reason why we fear things we don't know, and we try to rationalize it so we don't fear it, so that we can live with it, I suppose.
This is a fundamental concept. Just as I'm ignorant of the rope and I see a snake, similarly, the claim is you are ignorant about Turiya. And what do you see? Right now you are seeing Vishwa.
Oh.
You are experiencing yourself as Vishwa. Who am I? Upanishad tells you that you are Turiya. But what do you feel? What do I feel? I feel I am this person limited by body and mind. This is what I am. This is called Vishwa. Why do I think I am Vishwa? Because the Upanishad tells you, you do not know your true nature. Because you did not know the rope, you mistook it for a snake. Because you do not know yourself, realize yourself as Turiya, as pure consciousness, you think of yourself as a body and mind. This is the basic idea. Now see how he uses this. When we are awake, we are seeing this world, which is actually Turiya. The world is also Turiya, I am also Turiya. But I am seeing it as a limited knower called Vishwa, and I see the world as a Jagrat Prapancha. So I have an ignorance here about my true nature, and I am making a mistake by seeing this Turiya itself as Vishwa and as Jagrat. Okay, now let me go through this. First Vishwa, second Taijasa, third Pragya, and the fourth, the reality itself, is Turiya. What happens in Vishwa, in the waking state right now, according to the Upanishad, is we are ignorant of our true nature, and we think we are this body and mind, this Vishwa, and we see this as a world distinct from ourselves. So we have an ignorance about our true nature, and we are making a mistake. What is actually one undivided reality called Turiyam or Brahman or whatever you call it, we see it as a multifarious divided world. What is actually Advaitam, we see it as a Dvaita world. I am separate from you. These are separate, discrete, independent entities. That's what we experience the world as. But this is not true. The truth is that it is one undivided reality which you are. So, in this waking state, my point is, we have ignorance as well as error, according to the Upanishad. We are ignorant of our true reality and we make an error. What is the error? I am this body and mind, these are all separate from me. I am the Vishwa, this is my Jagrat Avastha. This is the error. Which means, let us make a table here. The Vishwa, the waker, right now, do we have ignorance according to the Upanishad? Yes. I don't know my ignorance about what? You will say, yeah, I have lots of ignorance about my maths and about my physics and about my mechanical or engineering drawing. Not that kind of ignorance. I mean ignorance about our true nature. Who am I? That question. I don't know that. I don't know the correct answer to it. Because I do not know that, I make a mistake. What mistake do I make? That I am this body and mind. So do we have an error in the waking state? Yes. So Vishwa has both ignorance and error. What about Taijasa in dream? In dream, just consider our dreams. What dreams you have? Do you ever feel I am pure consciousness in dream? We don't feel that. We just have another, like this waking world, we have another world we are constructing in the mind. So, in dream also we do not know that we are pure consciousness. We are ignorant of Turiya in dream. We have ignorance. Do we have error in dream? Yes, we have error. Because we are seeing a different world which is apart from us. We are seeing a dream body. Only after waking up we think it's a dream. But there it seems to be pretty real. Prajna, very interesting. What do we have there? I am asleep and it's a blankness. I don't even know that I'm asleep. I don't know anything. I don't know myself. I do not know the world also. Nothing. Just blankness. Now, in Prajna, do I have ignorance? Yes, we have ignorance. Because I don't know I don't know myself. Who am I? Remember, ignorance about what? I do not know myself. So in Prajna, we have ignorance. Do we have error? No.
I think so, yeah.
Very.
Because there's nothing there. And I was saying, you can't, well, can you have ignorance if you know nothing? Because you don't know that you don't know yourself in the deep sleep world. That's weird. To say that you have ignorance, but you have no error. Huh.
Good. We don't have error. In Prajna,
I guess because in the sheer fact that in all three states you are the Turiya, so you see yourself as these three things and not as the true self, so there's always ignorance, but the error because there's nothing there to experience, so therefore there's no error.
We do not have error. In deep sleep, the error of Dvaita, that there is a separate existence apart from me, that error is not there.
Okay, yeah.
The knowledge of Advaita is
Gotcha.
also not there, but the error of Dvaita is not there. No error is there in deep sleep, but ignorance is there. I do not know anything. Let alone,
okay.
I do not know who am I do not know the world also.
Okay.
So there is no wrong knowledge, but there is no knowledge, correct knowledge also. There is nothing, blankness in deep sleep.
So would that still be ignorant? I guess so. Ignorance means knowing nothing, or as far as I can tell.
And they say, Gaudapadacharya will mention, in Turiya there is neither ignorance nor error. When we realize ourselves as Turiya, then there is no ignorance anymore. I know that I am pure consciousness and there will be no error anymore. When I see this world, waking state will come again. I will see everything, but I know that it is not different from me. I am pure consciousness. What I am appears in front of me. I am one with all of you. I am one with everything that I experience. That knowledge will be there. That is why great saints and all, they have an instinctive identity with people, and they sympathize with people. They feel that sense of oneness with everybody. With everybody. In Gita, again and again, you will come to this term, Samadarshana. They have, Mitra and Ripu, friend and enemy. They have Samadarshana towards all of them. Deep inside, they know, I am alone appearing in these forms. Towards wealth and poverty, they have Samadarshana. Sri Ramakrishna's story is that Taka Mati, he's throwing Mati, that means soil, into the Ganga and also money. Samadarshana in what sense? That the one reality alone is appearing as Mati and as Taka. Not that everything will disappear. It will continue to appear the way it is appearing to you or to me. For the Jnani also, same thing appears, and but he knows the underlying reality. So for Turiya, there is no ignorance about who am I, and there is no error also. There is no error. He knows that I am all of it. When one realizes the Turiyam. All right. One more thing. Okay. Some more terms. Let me bring before you, then we will go on to the verses and we will be able to understand very clearly. There are certain terms which Gaudapada Acharya uses for ignorance and error. The terms he uses, I'll just write it out for you. Ignorance, he calls it agrahanam. Agrahanam. Grahanam literally means grasping. Here it means grasping in the sense of understanding. So ignorance is agrahanam, not grasping, not understanding. In class also, when your professor teaches you, once in a while he says, have you grasped it? That grahanam is there or not. Agrahanam means you have not grasped it. So ignorance is agrahanam. Agrahanam about what? About my true nature, who am I? And error he calls anyatha grahanam. Anyatha grahanam. Anyatha grahanam means not only has he not grasped who am I, he has grasped something wrong. He has not only understood the true nature of the Atman, he has not understood, but also he makes a mistake about it. From ignorance comes error. So what does he grasp? He says, I am this body and mind. If you ask him, who are you? I am this person. It is anyatha grahanam. Anyatha means otherwise. So there is wise and otherwise. He has otherwise grahanam. He has understood something wrongly. So in the class, some students may not understand at all. I don't get what he is saying. And some students may say, I get it. But when you ask them, he's got it completely wrong. So that's anyatha grahanam. That's an error. And that comes from agrahanam, from ignorance. Another term Gaudapada Acharya will use is karanam. Karyam. Karyam. Karanam means cause. Karyam means effect. Cause, effect. Ignorance is the cause and error is the effect. I don't know the rope, that is the cause. Cause of what? Seeing a snake.
I do like the cause and effect. Do I believe in that? I do, but I don't know if I've tried to find a way to think that it doesn't apply to everything, but as far as my belief goes, there's a cause and effect to everything. We may just not know exactly what it is at the moment.
How do you know it is the cause? The moment you know the rope, that it is a rope, immediately what happens? The effect also goes away. You no longer say it's a snake. You say it's a rope. Okay. So karanam is ignorance. Ignorance is karanam, and the error will be karyam. Another thing, another term he uses, Gaudapada Acharya, we'll see, is bijam. You can understand. Bijam means seed. So ignorance is the seed. And what is the effect? The sprout, the plant, he does not use the word ankura, we can just add it. He means this. Ankura means a sprout, seedling. So what comes from ignorance? The seedling of error. What comes from our not knowing the pure consciousness? The seedling which is samsara. It's not even a seedling, it's a huge vatavriksha, the samsara we have got. A huge banyan tree. So many problems, 1001 problems. All of it has come from the small seed. Ignorance. Ignorance of what? I don't know this. I don't know who am I. Okay. And the fourth term he uses is quite shocking. He says nidra. And error he calls swapna. Nidra means sleep. And swapna means dream. Gaudapada Acharya says, not knowing the true nature is sleep. You are asleep. And The error you make that I am this body and mind, I am this limited individual, these are my friends, these are my enemies, this is my goal in life, this is my failure, happiness, sadness, I have to do this, I have not done this. All this enormous samsara net which we have got in front of us, that error, he calls it a dream. Remember, the interesting thing is, in that case, both our waking and our dream, both of them Gaudapada Acharya would call dream.
Yeah, that's why I was like, dream? There's a waking and a dream state. Huh. So why is he calling the waking state a dream? And well, the dream, obviously, but the waking the dream, is it because it's false?
Dreaming is error, and that Gaudapada Acharya calls a dream. Our waking is also error because we don't know the true nature. In that case, Gaudapada Acharya also says that one is also a dream. In fact, this is a source, where Advaitins is supposed to say that your life is like a dream, swapnavat. It comes from this.
So basically, when you're living a life of error, it's a dream state. Until you know your true self, then you don't know what you're not awakened into the real world. You're still in the dream world, which is the waker world and the dreamer world.
Gaudapada Acharya says both your dream it's also a dream, and the waking which you have got, that's also a dream. That's also a dream. There's a beautiful story about the Buddha. After getting his realization, he was walking.
Now, sorry, I keep pausing a lot right here for some reason, because he's actually saying something different. I don't know if you guys noticed, he repeated himself quite a lot there at the very beginning, but it helps reinforce this state. But anyways, whenever they say Buddha now, I don't think of actually Gautama now, because that's who I thought that was his name, but actually Buddha's a title. So now whenever he says Buddha, I'm like, okay, which one? Because apparently there's many Buddhas now. But I guess the Buddha that, I guess maybe, is he the first one? Probably, I don't know. But now I know Gautama is actually his real name, and I stopped using Buddha for him because I know his real name and Buddha's a title now.
Towards Rajagriha, I think. And
or is he talking about
where he gave the first sermon, I think Sarnath, towards Sarnath. And the story is, a shepherd boy saw him and he was so amazed by the appearance of the Buddha. He asked him, "What are you?" Houston Smith, in his introduction to Buddhism, he writes, many people have been asked, "Who are you?" Very few in the history of mankind have been asked, "What are you?" What are you? Are you a devata, a god? Buddha said, no. Are you an angel, a devadut or something like that? Buddha says, no. Are you a human being? Buddha says, no. Then what are you? Buddha says, I am Buddha, the awakened. I am Buddha, the awakened.
It says, I guess what it's saying here is like, who are you? And then finally the real question is asked, what are you then? Because he went through the list of what he might be, but he kept denying them all. Then he finally asked the real question of what are you?
Meaning thereby, we are not awake. We are in the sleep of ignorance, making the dream of error. We are in the sleep of ignorance. We do not know who we are. And we are dreaming all sorts of dreams. That we are these individual bodies and minds, we are born, we are happy, we are sad, we are struggling, and we'll soon die, and it's all over. All the time, we are the consciousness illumining this entire drama, which is going on in front of this consciousness. So these are the terms Gaudapada Acharya uses. Agrahanam, anyatha grahanam. Not knowing, knowing wrongly. Karanam, the cause, ignorance. Karyam, the effect, error. Bijam, the seed, ignorance. Ankura, he does not say, we are adding. Nidra, sleep of ignorance. Swapna, the dream of error. And now we will go into the Karika, and then you can see we can easily follow with this background. Number 10.
I was going to pause
These
it there,
are the
but it's not enough
Karikas
time has
written by
passed.
Gaudapada Acharya, explaining the 7th mantra of the Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, expanding on that mantra, clarifying the meanings. First, number 10. I'll read it out and I'll tell you the meaning in brief. Nivritte sarva dukkhanam ishana prabhuravyaya Advaita sarva bhavanam devasturyo vibhusmritaha. There, sarva bhavanam, that dot you should add, that's missing there. Nivritte sarva dukkhanam ishana. So there are some visarga and dot which is missing there. What does it mean? He says, Turiya. Turiya, you see the word Turiya, he calls Turiya, this Turiya, Ishana. Ishana means Lord, Bhagavan. What we normally call Bhagavan, he says, you are Bhagavan. You are Ishana, you are God. In fact, this is the meaning of the Mahavakyas, Tattvamasi. You are that. This is God. God in what sense? Ishana literally means the powerful. Powerful in what sense? Nivritte sarva dukkhanam. He is beyond all dukkhas. He means you. In your true nature, you are beyond all suffering. When? Right now. Right now you are beyond all suffering. In what sense? Suffering belongs to the body or to the mind? Suffering belongs to the body in the physical world. Suffering belongs to your nightmares and dreams in the dream world. And potentially, it's all hidden in the deep sleep. It's not, you cannot experience it, but it's there. Again, when you wake up, the suffering will come. But this Turiya is beyond all that, untouched by the suffering of the waking state, the dream state, and the potential in the sleep.
Untouched. Okay. Never mind. I thought.
Untouched in what sense? It is there. It will come. The pain in the body also will come to us and to the Jnani also. The difference is, we think it is, I am in pain. I am suffering. Bahut kasht hai. The Jnani feels, I am the Sakshi of this pain. The pain is there in the body. Mind also cognizes it is pain. And I am the Sakshi. I am not affected by the pain. He is not using willpower there. I have no pain, I have no pain. I pinch him and then ouch. Not like that. He knows I have no pain. It's just like the light falling on this. If the same sunlight falls on the ditch, falls on the Ganga, falls on the Himalayas, it is not polluted by the ditch, it is not purified by the Ganga also. It illumines your consciousness. You illumine the suffering of the waking world. You illumine the nightmare of the dream world. You illumine the blankness of the deep sleep. Some people say in deep sleep there is no consciousness. Why are you saying the consciousness is illumining the blankness? I'll tell you an interesting story. In Institute of Culture, Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture, Gold Park in Kolkata, about 10 years back, there was a conference on consciousness studies. So there was this neuroscientist, philosophers. Finally, in one session, a philosopher, Indian philosopher, he asked a neuroscientist who had come from UK, he said, Doctor, according to neuroscience, in sleep or in deep sleep, for example, in this deep sleep, is there consciousness or not? And the neuroscientist said, no, in deep sleep there is no consciousness. According to our definition of consciousness, there is no consciousness in deep sleep. And this philosopher replied, this is the difference between Indian philosophy and modern neuroscience, because according to Indian philosophy, in deep sleep there is only consciousness. In neuroscience, there is no consciousness in deep sleep. From the point of view of Advaita Vedanta, there is only consciousness in deep sleep. What does it mean? It means this. Imagine, there's a vehicle, it's a very good example.
So that, in deep sleep there's only consciousness, but again, scientists can only measure things in the physical world. And I think the consciousness is basically brain activity, is it not? So in the dream world, your brain is in fact active. In the wake world, obviously your brain is hopefully active. But yeah, your brain is active in the wake world because anytime you do something, you think about something, even if you don't think about anything or do anything, I think your brain is still active because it's still, your internal organs, your brain is still sending signals, and you're still experiencing stuff through your skin, even though you're doing nothing. Air breeze, every hair movement on your arm, you'll feel that your brain is still conscious about that. Dream world, again, your brain is very active there too, because it's kind of like a video game in a sense. The dream world, where your brain is creating this world, so it has to has to create the texture of the walls of what you're looking at, the texture of the ground, what it looks like. Is it raining? Every particle of rain your brain is also creating, and then the perspective of who you are. It makes me wonder now that is your brain only rendering what you're seeing? Like if you go past a building, does that all of a sudden what you don't see stops being rendered by your brain until you turn to look at it? And that made me think of Minecraft, because Minecraft only generates so much around you to preserve hard drives or a RAM so that your computer's not bogged down, and as you proceed through the stages, it de-renders things that are further away from you but renders things more closely around you so it doesn't load. And I'm wondering if your brain kind of does the same thing.
A hill, a car, and there are the headlights of the car with beams, and in the headlight of the car in the dark you can see insects flying past. If you have ever had that experience, you will know raindrops are falling. You can see in the headlight of the car, and you can see the beams of the car headlight. As you come to the peak of the hill, there's nothing in front. The lights shine out. Suppose the sky is very clear, moonless night. Sky is very clear. The lights shine out to infinity. There is nothing, because the atmosphere is clear. The beams will not be defined. I mean, you will not be able to see the beams of light. Nothing comes in front also, because just empty space ahead. It will seem as if the light beams are not there, because there's nothing to reflect the light. But the light is there or not? Of course it's there. The powerful headlights are on, the beams are shining out to infinity, but there's nothing in front to reflect it. So the light is there, nothing to reflect the light, so you do not see the light itself. In deep sleep, what happens is, Turiya is there, pure consciousness is there, but there is no thought, no body, nothing is there which is illumined by that pure consciousness. Physical things are not there, thoughts and feelings and emotions are not there, nothing is there in deep sleep. Therefore, the pure consciousness does not reflect anything, you have no experience. Anubhava comes when there is a thing which is illumined by consciousness, then Anubhava comes. In deep sleep, it is not there. Yeah.
I just wanted to comment on the scientists. What scientists is, I think it's very logical, because they're not postulating the existence.
Sorry, I can't hear him anyway. But the reason why I wrote down a timestamp there, because I want to explore this particular idea a little bit more. The fact that again, it's I'm going to just call it this. You can define it however you want. Contamination of the Turiya. I don't necessarily mean it like it's a bad thing. It's just the fact that how the Turiya is in all three states. It's the only thing that links all three states together, and how each state outside of the Turiya is self-containing. So that's what I'm understanding so far. So the Turiya is the one that contaminates, or that's in all three states. Again, I don't mean contamination is a bad thing. It's just that it's the fact that it's always there. It's the only thing that goes through each world, because the worlds don't contaminate each other. It's the Turiya that does. So that's something I've been thinking about, especially from the first one. I need to expand on that a bit more, but I need to watch this. I need to watch the other one, and this is where the bonus video that I want to do on this is to hopefully throw out my perspective and my understanding of this. I understand this is just a short film, a short version of the actual true meaning of this. I guess it's like it's verse 7.
I'll come to that.
And science only, assumes whether it is connected by some experience. They don't sort of imagine unless there is a good reason.
Absolutely, they don't speculate. Now, this is a very interesting thing. I'll come to that. The scientist takes a reductionist approach, says that consciousness is generated by the brain under certain circumstances, and we have the experience of consciousness, and they study it objectively.
Yeah.
So he will say there is no consciousness, because first of all the patient or the person does not report any consciousness, nor do we see the brain activities normally linked with consciousness.
Yeah,
if you do fMRI, you will not see that. Therefore, we say there is no consciousness. That's the
Brain
objective
activity.
view of the scientist.
Yes.
Now, what they are saying is, you take a subjective view. What is subjective view? Take a look at your own experience. If you say that there is a brain generating consciousness, what these Advaitins will say that all that is also within consciousness. That you are seeing a brain and you are making an fMRI study, and that is giving certain patterns which you say is linked to consciousness. All that is illumined by your own consciousness. They're saying that. And not only that, it's not that they do not establish this. They say it has to be self-established by you. They are showing you a technique. What they are doing is, the waking, dream, and deep sleep states are non-controversial. They're just repeating. The term is anuvada. They repeat what is our day-to-day experience. They're repeating it to you. Now, one step further they go. They say, see the features of these three states. From this, something comes out interesting. The waker, dreamer, and the deep sleep, they are exclusive in a certain way because the experiences are unique to each. The waker's experiences are forgotten in the dream state because nobody who dreams will, at that time, will not think that I am sleeping under a mosquito net there. Otherwise, they cannot dream. They forget the waking state. So they have an individual experience apart from the waking state. And then deep sleep, they have an experience of blankness, which objectively might be interpreted as no consciousness. But consider this as a fact. When we wake up again, what do we say? I, the waker, I was the one who was dreaming. I was the one who was sleeping. Now, how do you know that? We assume it. We never say there was somebody else who was asleep, that there was somebody else who was dreaming, and I was not there during sleeping. We never say that. It would have been logical to say, if I am the conscious product of my brain, it would have actually been more logical to say, right now I am there. Now my consciousness shuts down when I am in deep sleep, so I was not there during deep sleep.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, because how do you know that you're in a deep sleep? Because, whenever you wake up in the morning, you don't always have dreams. So you can say, oh yeah, I slept, I didn't have a dream. Or at least sometimes, people forget they have dreams. They could have been in a dreamer state and not even know that they're in a dreamer state because, most of the time you don't really remember your dreams. Sometimes you wake up and say, oh man, I had a dream, I can't remember it. I think that's in most cases. And there are a lot of cases also where people remember their dreams, but they tend to forget them.
But that also seems rather strange to us. We normally don't accept that. We say that I was there during deep sleep. How I was there, I cannot explain. Now they say that it is this pure consciousness which is shining through the body and mind in the waking state, through the mind in the dream state, and the blank, no experience of body and mind, in the deep sleep state. Now, this has to be thought about. I'm just presenting it. I'm not saying this is conclusive, because that's why they say it cannot be established by argument. By argument, you can only present the possibility. You cannot. It's not a mathematical proof where you have to come to this. A mathematical proof demands your acknowledgement, right? If you are following reason, you cannot say it may be this. But this is more like a court. Lawyers argue and try to convince the jury that this is possible. So you can take it in this way, a possibility. Okay. Now, nivritte sarva dukkhanam ishana prabhu avyaya. Avyaya, unchanging. The waker, dreamer, and sleeper come and go. This is unchanging. You remember the example of the station master? Trains are coming and going. Station master watches. Similarly.
And that's the example that I really wanted to get to, is because again, the station master doesn't go into the different worlds he doesn't go into the train of the waker world or the dreamer world or the void, the deep sleep world, because there's no train there anyway, so he's just sitting there at the train station. But that's the thing, is the fact that the train station station master just sits there and observes the train comes in and then goes, and then the dreamer world come in and goes, and then the blank state which has nothing there. So, and this is the reason why I say that the Turiya itself, which is the station master, doesn't interfere with those worlds because he doesn't get into the train. My thought on that, do I want to say it here? Sure, why not? So my thought on that, maybe a better example might be, he's the, I don't know what you call the conductor, I guess? The one that goes into the train. So the Turiya is driving the Waker World train. And then when he gets to the train station, he gets off that train, the train gets into storage, the dreamer train comes up and he gets onto the dreamer train, and then he continues on his path in the dreamer train. And then whenever he gets to the next station, he gets off the dreamer train, and then say the deep sleep, where he's not on the train, he's just in the train station just sitting there doing nothing. And then when the waker train comes, he gets on that train and then continues this path. So the Turiya is the one that's in this world, and has influence in the different trains because he's the one that's driving it. But he makes it seem like the Turiya is separate from the train, whereas it doesn't interfere with the train. The train itself has, the waker is the driver of the waking world train. The dreamer is the driver of the dreamer world train. As opposed to where I might think it might be, it's like, well, if there has to be an influence between the waker and the dreamer world. And I think it's the conductor going in and driving the different trains, but you don't realize that you are the conductor, but you see this conductor only in the waker world train, and whenever he gets off the waker world train, you don't see yourself as getting off that train. You only see yourself as the waker, which is the driver. I need to do that in another video and hopefully better present it, because I really need to think about it, write it down, and present it. So let's continue on before I talk too much.
The coming and departing of these states. Advaita Sarvabhavanam, very important. Sarvabhavanam literally means all existing things. Advaita, you, the consciousness, you are non-dual with respect to these things. Non-dual means they do not exist apart from you. Advaita, na dvaita. There is no second independent reality apart from this pure consciousness. That alone appears as the knower and the known in these states. So Advaita Sarvabhavanam, you the Turiya, you alone are appearing as all these bodies and minds, and you are identified with one particular mind, just like we do in a dream. This is the claim. Next, in 11 to 14 to 15, 11 to 15, what Gaudapada Acharya will do, he will compare and contrast Vishwa, Taijasa, Pragya and Turiya to establish, to show you that it is possible that you are independent of these states. There is something within you which is independent of these states. He will compare and contrast. Now using these terms, so get ready, keep these in mind, you will easily understand what he does. 11. Karya karana baddhautau ishyete vishva tejasau pragya karana baddhastu dvautau turyena siddhyate dvautau turyena siddhyata.
Boy, the subtitles there is
what does
terrible.
it mean? Vishwa and Taijasa are associated with Karya and Karana. Do you see Karya Karana Baddhautau?
Cause and effect.
Vishwa and Taijasa, the waker and the dreamer, are associated with Karana and Karya. Karanam, ignorance. Karya, error. Vishwa has ignorance, does not know that he is Atma, this Turiya, and he has an error. He thinks that I am the body and mind experiencing this. So there is error here, and there is ignorance also. That is the cause. So cause and effect are both there for the Vishwa. Even in the dream state, Karya Karana, the error is there and ignorance is there. Do you follow this? What we call error and ignorance? Ignorance is Karanam, cause, and its effect is error. That is there in the waking state and in the dream state. Pragya Karana Baddhastu. Do you remember that table which we made? The deep sleep, the Pragya, the one who is the deep sleeper, he is associated with ignorance only. There is no error. It's just like if a rope is in complete darkness, you don't see the rope. If you don't see the rope, you will not mistake it to be a snake also. It's only when you partially see the rope, you will make an error about it and say it's a snake. Similarly, the deep sleep, in deep sleep, there is ignorance. It does not know that I am Atma, or I am Turiyam. But there is no error. He does not think that I am body and mind going through so many troubles. In deep sleep, there is no dukkha also. Very interesting. In deep sleep, there is no dukkha also. There are some interesting characteristics of deep sleep. The worst patient who is suffering with great pain, with maybe cancer or something, about to die, when that patient in the ICU is in deep sleep, does not have any problem at all. From his point of view. Of course, body is dying. But from his experience, phenomenologically speaking, he does not experience anything, and none of the dukkha also. That's one interesting characteristic. The second characteristic is My experience and your experience just now are different. You are experiencing in one way, I am experiencing another way. In our dreams also, your dreams are different, my dreams are different. But your deep sleep and my deep sleep are exactly the same. Not only that, the Upanishad says, if there's a deep sleep of a mosquito, a lion, a tiger, and a human being, a PhD and an illiterate person, all of them, they are exactly the same type of deep sleep. The nature of deep sleep is same for all, because it's ignorance. It's complete darkness. There is no speciality, no differentiation there. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pause right there. Going a little too long, but it's fine. Okay, so again, the Who Am I video really makes me want to create another series where I call it a little bit deeper thought on things. I don't know how much I want to do that, because again, me doing a reaction to this, I'm just going into this completely blank with no knowledge of anything other than what I bring, which isn't very much, but where I really listen to the video, I'll go over and over and over, and I'll take notes and everything, and then I present it. So I start recording after I got everything that I wanted done. Hopefully I get the clips that I need, and I present it in a bit more a thought out manner, whereas my reactions are not thought out in a sense. I mean, I can only, whatever comes up at the time, I say it, and if I've already thought about it before, then I can say it a little bit more. But anyways, this is part 1. I can't wait to get to part 2. He explains things really, really well. Although in this one he seems to repeat the same states over and over a bit, but at least that hammers down the point, which is what I can appreciate. So anyway, that's my reaction to Who Am I Part 2. There's going to be a part 2 to this part 2 just because it's running a little too long and I'm afraid my computer's going to blow up. So, alright guys, that's my reaction to this. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.